We need to eat the baby.
I have no respect for women who voted for Trump. Okay? I think so poorly of them, and the reason why.
Hey, how's it going? Look at these freaks. Look at them. Disgusting. Couple is accused of recording people in Watervliet Price Chopper bathroom. Police say a husband and wife were secretly recording women and children using the bathroom at the Price Chopper in Watervliet. They're still searching for more than 24 victims. Watervliet Police Chief Anthony Garcia says with 2 decades in law enforcement, nothing is more disturbing or disgusting than these allegations. He says women and children ranging in the age from 4 years old to almost 60 were filmed in the bathroom at the Price Chopper in Watervliet, and it has been going on for about 2 years. Valerie and James Hewitt were arrested by Watervliet Police Department and charged each with 4 counts of unlawful surveillance and 1 count of endangering the welfare of a child. And police say Valerie Hewitt would go to the bathroom with a small recording device, which is placed into a pocket of the purse and then slid it under the bathroom stall. It was through the Watervliet Police Department's investigation that they learned the couple was also filming women and children at the Great Escape in Queensbury. The couple is also facing charges there. The Warren County Sheriff's Office say they found 2 victims, an adult and a child less than 10 years old. Police say these incidents happened between July 2017 and July 2019, and in Watervliet they believe there are around 30 victims, with only 4 coming forward so far. News Channel 13 reached out to Price Chopper, and the company said they were horrified to discover this and immediately notified the police when they did.
Good afternoon. My name is Anthony Gerasi. I'm the Chief of Police here in the city of Watervliet. I'm joined by Lieutenant Stephen Stockdale from the Warren County Sheriff's Office. On July 11, 2019, members of the Watervliet Police Department began an investigation into the unlawful surveillance of females of varying ages ranging from approximately 4 years of age to 58 years of age, who were using the bathrooms at the Price Chopper located here in the city of Watervliet at 515 19th Street. Through a very lengthy and thorough investigation, it was determined that multiple female victims were videotaped while using the restroom without their knowledge and or consent. These images were taken of the victims utilizing a small recording device, which was placed into a pocket of a purse and then slid under the bathroom stall partition. As a result, the Watervliet Police Department has arrested and charged 2 people in connection with these crimes. Pictured here, a husband and wife duo, Valerie N. Hewitt, age 29 of Middleville, New York, and James C. Hewitt, age 30 of Watervliet, New York. Both defendants have been charged with 4 counts of unlawful surveillance in the 2nd degree and E felony, and 1 count of endangering the welfare of a child, an A misdemeanor. At this time, detectives have only identified 4 of 30 victims here in the city of Watervliet who used the restroom at the Price Chopper located at 515 19th Street between the dates of July 2017 and July 2019. We ask that if you believe you were victimized, that you come forward so we can assist you and hold these perpetrators accountable. Our Criminal Investigations Unit is working to identify as many victims as possible, but we need your help. If you believe you've been victimized or you have any information pertaining to these 2 perpetrators, please contact our Investigations Unit at 518-270-3837. While investigating this incident, it was also discovered that James and Valerie Hewitt had committed similar acts while in Warren County. Lieutenant Stockdale from the Sheriff's Department, as mentioned, is here and can speak to their investigation. I do have to mention, though, this was a collaborative effort, and as such, I would like to recognize several people and institutions. First and foremost, I want to relay our appreciation for the courage that our victims have shown. These women and children were sadly taken advantage of during what was supposed to be their most private time. My staff, Detective Sergeant Lyman Conrad and Detective Michael Harrington, on conducting this very difficult and troubling investigation. They worked tirelessly here in Waterville and were a tremendous asset as well in Warren County. I also need to mention Sergeant Brian Murray and Lieutenant Brian Strock for their involvement in this case. I need to recognize the New York State Police Forensic Investigative Center for their help forensically recovering our video evidence off a recording device. I need to recognize the District Attorney's Office, both in Albany and Warren County, for their assistance and support during this investigation and as we move forward with the prosecution. Lastly, I especially want to thank Price Chopper for their cooperation during this investigation. They have been extremely helpful to us in law enforcement, but more importantly, they have shown a tremendous amount of empathy and compassion to those affected by this horrible crime. This case is a clear example of why collaborative partnerships are so important when it comes to public safety and removing predators like the two pictured here from our community. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Lieutenant Stockdale to talk about his investigation and findings in Warren County.
Thank you, Chief, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As a result of this investigation, the yeoman's work in this case was done by Waterville detectives. They did a phenomenal job. We would have never had any idea these crimes had taken place in Warren County if not for their immediate advisement. Upon learning this information, they reached out immediately and gave us the information that was critical in securing indictments against the two defendants who've already been identified. We have indictment warrants for Mr. and Mrs. Hewitt, charging multiple felonies, including unlawful surveillance and endangering the welfare of a child, promoting sexual performance of a child. This is a pretty disturbing case. The outcome here is troubling to a lot of seasoned officers. We're grateful for the opportunity to work with Waterville Police Department. And at this time, Mr. Hewitt is in custody of Warren County investigators. He's being transported to Warren County Court for arraignment on the indictment. Mrs. Hewitt remains in the community. We're attempting to locate her as well. That's all I have, Chief.
So we're prepared to answer any questions that you may have from the media. Myself and Lieutenant Stockdale.
How did you discover that they were videotaping in the bathroom?
So I'm not at liberty to discuss, just to ensure the integrity of the investigation and prosecution. But the importance right now is to identify those remaining victims who believe maybe they were victimized. Each one of these images, the victim appeared to see something amiss between the stalls. So that's what we're really asking the public right now.
Did they come forward, or how did this all come to light in the first place?
So once again, I apologize for just to maintain the integrity of the investigation. I can't disclose where we learned this information, but as mentioned, we do have 4 victims identified in Albany County here in the city of Waterville.
Were their faces in these videos?
Yes, they were clearly identifiable. Yes.
Did one of the victims catch the COVID?
No.
You said there could be up to 30 victims?
There is definitely 30 victims here in the city of Waterville. We've identified 4.
Lieutenant Stockdale, what's the nature of the case in your county? Similar modus operandi. It was a restroom stall in a public facility in Warren County. We only have 2 victims that we're aware of right now, but we continue to collaborate. If we identify more, then we'll certainly address that as it comes up. Where did this happen in Warren County? Six Flags Great Escape.
Have they, what's their record like? Have they done something like this before? Are they...
So, neither one has a criminal history, and no, so they have not done this before. I'm sorry. They have not been arrested for this before.
Chief, do you know, has this been, have the video pictures been shared on social media or dark media? Have they been promoting?
So obviously the investigations continue. I can't answer that.
Is Valerie, is there a warrant out for her right now?
So in the city of Waterville, we did make the arrest yesterday. We effected the arrest of both these individuals. They were arraigned in city court here in Waterville.
At this time, I have an indictment warrant for Valerie Hewitt, and we're attempting to locate her now.
She lives in Warren County?
No, she does not.
Okay.
Lieutenant, do you believe that she may be...
Why wasn't she arrested with the guy? Why is she released?
I have no reason to believe that, but I can't discount that possibility.
far as the indictment for the sexual performance of a child, I mean, I'm sure it's incredibly disturbing, but can you give us an idea of what exactly was happening here, as far as that goes?
No, that goes back to maintaining the integrity of our evidence. I can't disclose the actual contents of the video, but it was disturbing. Fits the statute.
Chief, can you say how many minors were involved as victims here in Waterville?
So I can speak to the 4 victims we have identified, that because they were charged with that 1 count of endangering the welfare of a child, there was 1 person less than 17 years of age. So I'm not going to further define the victim's age, but the statute reads the threshold is less than 17.
Can you give an age range?
Less than 17.
No, I mean, not all of it.
I don't have that information. I know the age range ranges from those captured on video from 4 years old to 58 years old.
Oh, so gross.
And you said this was mostly women and children here, or all women and children in Waterville? Is that true of the Great Escape in Warren County?
Yes, it is.
Can you give the time span of that this was going on? Maybe some victims may feel
Sure.
like, oh, I was there, and
Sure, yeah. July 2017 to July 2019. So, great question. July 11th, we became aware of these accusations. That day, we executed a search warrant and recovered the recording devices from the defendants. So I can't disclose that information just because it is part of the integrity of the prosecution and ongoing investigation. But it was something that could fit into a purse. Yeah, absolutely. So the allegations are that Valerie carried the purse in with the recording device and would sit in the stall. Their victims were both targeted and random.
Or would you stick it under the adjacent stall? Or?
So the information that we discovered through the investigation is that, yes, just kind of through the partition. So we asked, the victims, once again, that are out there, potentially, if you use the restroom and you saw something amiss, that someone's purse was in your stall or on the verge of your stall, come in and talk to our detectives.
Grocery stores, as we all know, are heavily camera.
What about the women that just accidentally leave their purse down when they go? Like, can he get questioned?
So I'm not going to disclose that information.
Can you speak to the depravity of the nature of this crime?
Sure. I mean, as I mentioned in the prepared statement, and I'll reiterate, and Lieutenant Stockdale mentioned, as a law enforcement professional for over 2 decades, nothing is more disgusting and more disturbing than these allegations and the crimes that they committed, especially as a husband and wife, that they would in tandem target and victimize very young children and women who are unsuspecting.
How did James play a role in this? I mean, it sounds like Valerie would be the one to go into the bathrooms. How are you able to charge James with these crimes as well?
Sure. So I'm not going to go into detail, but I can say with confidence that they were a team. They acted in concert, and he was definitely complicit in these crimes.
Where do they live?
Statements implicating themselves?
So at this time, I'm not going to disclose that information. I apologize. You're the only one I'm saying no to. But great line of questioning.
With these charges, what kind of, if found guilty, what kind of time could they face?
So that's a question you'd have to ask the district attorney's office.
So just to be sure, Mr. Hewitt is in custody right now
That's correct.
in Warren County.
He's on his way to Warren County. That's correct.
He's on his way to Warren County to be arraigned there,
He's going to be arraigned in Warren County
and
Court.
then he will be held there in the jail.
That'll be up to the judge.
Oh, okay. And she is not in custody, and you have a bench warrant out for her,
We have an arrest warrant for her,
arrest warrant.
and investigators are looking for her presently.
And but she was arrested here at one time.
That's correct.
Yesterday.
Why was she let go?
Ideally, that will be today, yeah. I hope so.
Lieutenant, we're asking about the ages for the victims here. What about the victims in your case? Can you give us, age range for the ones there?
I can tell you there was a small child female, an adult female as well.
When you say small, can you,
Less than 10 years old.
Same set of circumstances, would you offer the same warning that the chief did about if you saw something? Was it similar circumstances with which they were recording this evening?
Yeah, they were precisely similar circumstances. I can't change anything the chief said. That's exactly right.
So after she was arrested, is she out on bail right now? From here, from Waterville?
Yes. Yeah, so both defendants were arraigned yesterday in Waterville City Court and both released on bond.
Oh,
And where they live originally? Are they from like Albany, Warren County?
They both reside in Waterville at the time. Yeah, our understanding is that they're separated now, so that's the reason for the two addresses. So she resides, the address we have is Middleville, New York.
And also, was the Great Escape, was that the same time frame, July 2017 to 2019?
Yeah, it was in the same time frame, yes.
Okay, so I just got information on the bond. 10,000 for Valerie and 20,000 bond for co-defendant. I can't answer that.
So he was released, but then how does he now on his way to Warren?
He posted bond in accordance with the judicial proceeding that was set forth yesterday, and this morning we received an indictment warrant. So had the warrant been lodged yesterday, then he wouldn't have been released from custody, he would have been transferred upon posting his bond.
So you had to rearrest him, or
Yeah, different charges in different jurisdictions require a rearrest.
Will he be arraigned in a Lake George court or at the Warren County office?
It's an indictment warrant, so it's already in county court, Warren County Court. 1340 State Route 9.
transit right now?
Yes.
You said, so 2 victims have been identified in your case. How many do you believe are impacted? Do you have any idea about that? Because the chief said 30 here. I'm curious, is that 30 total or 30 in Waterville?
I would guess that our 2 victims in Warren County were probably the only 2 victims in Warren County. But we continue to analyze evidence and look for, if we find additional, then we'll certainly address it when the time comes.
What advice do you have for women and children going into the bachelor's program?
So as a husband and father of 3 daughters and a son, my advice would be similar to them. Be aware of your surroundings, your spatial orientation. If something doesn't seem right, it probably isn't right. And please report it to your local authorities.
Are you expecting any further charges or arrests?
At this time, the answer would be yes. If we can identify those other victims, there would be definitely more charges.
Did you get any inkling that they do it at any other price shoppers or any other public restrooms in the?
So I would be naive to think that this husband and wife duo did not do this in other locations and that we have all the images. But I can only speak to the facts and circumstances that we have, and those speak to 30 victims here in the Price Chopper in the city of Waterville. We did include our law enforcement partners with the state police, as mentioned, the crime lab. And when we realized that the location could be readily identifiable as Six Flags, we included Warren County.
Is that in the park itself?
Yes, it is. Not in the water park, it's in the theme park.
All right, no more questions. Thank you for coming.
Hey, welcome back. So in Utah, we got a bill that aimed at enforcing age limits at vape shops. Vape shops and other tobacco stores that sell to underage customers could swiftly lose their permits if they sell to underage customers. Under a draft bill that's getting an early nod of approval from Utah lawmakers. The Salt Lake Tribune reports Republican sponsor Representative Karen Lysenby says proposal approved by a legislative panel Wednesday wouldn't affect adult customers, but is aimed at enforcing laws preventing kids from getting e-cigarettes. Utah recently approved raising the tobacco purchasing age to 21 by the second half of 2021. The vaping industry has come under increased scrutiny recently because of an outbreak of vaping-related illnesses across the nation and in Utah, where more than 80 people have been sickened and 1 has died. The bill is expected to get further consideration during the regular legislative session next year. So I'm all for age limit, that's fine. What I'm not for is making something illegal. Banning something. I am against banning because all it does is criminalize everybody else. The thing about these pieces, and the reason why I'm covering them, is they incrementally put propaganda in there to sway public opinion about vaping, and that's what they're doing. They're going to try and get the majority of the public to be against vaping, so that way, if the polling data is right for them, then they can take legislation and pass it without, worrying about the American public. Hey, welcome back. We're going to do a real quick rundown of headlines. Ceasefire name only. U.S. Turkey reach agreement on Syria but differ over whether it's a ceasefire or pause in operations. Chuck Schumer's bid to rebuke Trump over Syria fails in the Senate. Energy Secretary Rick Perry to resign after Trump blamed him for Ukraine call. White House announces G7 to be hosted at Trump Resort amid conflict of interest allegations against Biden. Senate again fails to override Trump veto on border wall. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg says he fears erosion of truth but defends allowing politicians to lie in ads. San Francisco blacklists 22 states over pro-life laws. Wow. China's GDP growth grinds to a nearly 30-year low as tariffs hit production. Boris Johnson is in a race against time to sell the Brexit deal he has stuck with the EU and MPs ahead of a Commons vote on Saturday. UN member states hand Venezuela's brutal Maduro regime a seat on the Human Rights Council. Are you kidding me? What does Brexit deal 2.0 look like? Why is Mexico cooperating with us on immigration and Congress votes to protect Syria's borders but not the U.S. border? Of course. Oh, that was enough to give me an aneurysm. Okay. You guys have a good week.